Hi, I'm Michael Ducey, Senior Manager of Managed OpenShift Black Belts here at Red Hat. And with me today is Diana. Welcome, Diana.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, I'm Diana Sari. I'm a member of Managed OpenShift Black Belt here at Red Hat.
And today we're going to talk about Azure Key Vault. So Diana, what is Azure Key Vault?
So Azure Key Vault is Azure Managed Solutions that works as a centralized repository for your secrets. And that includes your passwords, your API tokens, for example, and your TLS or SSL certificates, etc.
So what are some of the advantages of using a key store like Azure Key Vault?
It's a good question. So there are numerous reasons why we're using Azure Key Vault. So for example, it meets your company's security compliance requirements. And another reason is that because it works as a centralized repo, so it means that your secrets are stored in a central location that you can use, you could update and use regularly for also not only for your Azure Red Hat OpenShift cluster, for example, but also for your other Azure products and services and solutions as well.
So this idea of centralized location must make password rotation really easy. So instead of passwords or secrets living inside of the cluster and having the central location, you can change it there instead of having to go out of your clusters.
Correct.
Makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Yes. So you can update them regularly as well as you deem fit.
And have better hygiene around your certificates and tokens and things like that and making sure that they're rotated.
Exactly.
So why don't you walk us through how you can actually integrate Azure Key Vault with Azure Red Hat OpenShift Array?
Sure. So first and foremost, let's draw our arrow cluster here. Say, throw it here. And this will be our arrow cluster, or Azure Red Hat OpenShift. Now, first and foremost, what you need to have in your arrow cluster is that you need to install two daemon sets. So first being what we call here as a CSI secret store driver, or here I will abbreviate it as a CSSD. So what it does is that this driver allows us to mount your secrets as a 10x5 volume into your pod and using or via CSI or container storage interface. So along with that, you also need to install provider-specific CSI store driver. So in this case, it's Azure, so you have to also install what we call here as Azure Key Vault Provider for CSI Secret Store Driver, or I'll abbreviate it as a KVP.
Lots of long names in the open source community, right?
Yes, it is. But okay, so when we are so how does it start? So first, when your pod is created or sent to your API scheduler server, and then it's scheduled into the node, what it is was that the kubelet here, it will see the pod specs, and then it will see if there is a mount volume request. And if there is, and then it will send a gRPC request to your CSI secret store driver. And then what happens was the CSI secret store driver will then create this volume, and then it will mount it into the pod as temp.fs file. And then it will also send a request to the provider, and it will ask him to fetch a request from the Azure Key Vault. So Azure Key Vault provider will then fetch the secrets, and then it will then send this back here as the response to that RPC request, and then the provider will then mount it, write it as files into the volumes. Now at this stage, the volumes have already been successfully mounted into the pod, and the pod started. So
in the normal workflow for Kubernetes, you would have the kubelet, you would have the pod request get scheduled, and I would basically go get the secret from etcd. So in this situation, we're just kind of replacing that call to etcd with the call into Azure Key Vault.
correct. Yes.
So we're keeping the same paradigm that Kubernetes has of volumes getting mounted into pods to store the secret or to provide the secret. The other thing that I see about this is that this secret only comes at runtime. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes. So when your cluster is inactive, your secret's not going to be stored in your cluster or pods instead, or in a cluster, but instead it will actually reside originally there, and it only exists in the pod as well. So.
Well, thank you so much, Diana, for talking about how we can integrate Azure Key Vault with Azure Red Hat OpenShift. It's been very informative.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching. Again, if you have any questions about Red Hat's products or services, you can always visit our website at redhat.com.